Moving on to the next process, that is the manage project knowledge. PMBOK guide talks about managing the knowledge in two ways. It divides the knowledge into two types. First type is the explicit knowledge, and second type is the tactic knowledge. Explicit knowledge is the knowledge that we have discussed so far about, that is any knowledge that can be recorded, right? Lessons learned, documentation, images, photographs, all these things are explicit knowledge. We can see it, we can learn it from a book, from a downloaded page, something like this. But tactic tactic knowledge is something which can only be understood when you are personally involved and personally experienced it. It's kind of within the minds of those experts or in the experience, right? How can we explain this better? It's more like, if we ask a question, same question, to two different persons from two different experiences, both of them will give the answer in their own point of view. So a designer and a tester, they will give two similar answers but not the same, because they have their own experiences which are linked to it. So, right, so this type of knowledge is called the tactic knowledge. So let's quickly look at what we should achieve here. The lessons learned register, I think we have lightly touched upon this before. This is nothing but the collection of outputs from the previous project. So everybody who's working on a project can contribute to this document, and they usually do. So it could be a common data collection or an independent one. So when I say common, it's like everybody is contributing to this data. They entering the lessons learned in one single document, everybody from different teams. When I said everybody, or every team will have its own lessons learned, and then it is integrated finally by the project manager. So this is a document which is usually reviewed also at phase gates, right? So this could be an important point for your exam. Where is it reviewed? So it is reviewed at a phase gate. Project management plan updates. So if the project plan changes during the activity, it has to be updated accordingly. So similarly, organizational process asset updates, updated likewise. Let's see the inputs. The project management plan as an input, of course. Project documents. So here, what could the documents be? The lessons learned act as an input. Project team assignments act as an input. The stakeholder register act as an input. And the resource breakdown structure. What does resource breakdown structure mean? It talks about categorizing the available resources based on the knowledge. Deliverables, the product, service, or a result. So what are the deliverables? They act as the input to the managed project knowledge. The enterprise environmental factors, I think we have covered. Organizational process assets, also a repeated input. The tools and techniques, expert judgment. Again, the relevant expert consultancy is needed. Managing the knowledge, how to manage. The project manager can be as creative as possible here in gathering the explicit knowledge, the tactical knowledge, as we have learned it. The information management, how is it different from the knowledge management? We have learned about knowledge management. So information management, it focuses on the how-to part, right? So how to record the lessons learned, what format to use, how to generate the common directory, how to share this information, should this be encrypted or not encrypted? All such things comes under information management. Interpersonal and team skills, soft skills, I would say. Remember the politics. Okay, the fifth process, monitor and control project work. Also done throughout the project. So it's not just at one particular stage. So let's see what is expected to bring out. So we have 4 outputs to be performed. Work performance reports. These things are updated accordingly. Change requests, I think we have covered what change requests actually mean. So they will become the outputs of this process. Project management plan updates, I consider understood. Also the project documents update. The inputs, let's have a look at the inputs. The project management plan, of course, again, repeated input, different project documents. So again, at this process, we take inputs from all major documents. So if I read out the list, starting from the assumptions log, the cost forecast, the issues log could be an input, lessons learned could be an input, quality reports could be input, schedule forecasts can be an input, risk reports can be input. So I did not show this on the screen because you don't have to memorize this. You just have to be aware of the fact that at monitor and control the project process, all the important relevant documents must be considered for inputs. Just don't leave anything. Work performance information, we use this as an input. Add the techniques, update as outputs. Agreements, also an important input. Enterprise environmental factor, see how important this is. Like almost all the processes that we have seen until now, they consider this enterprise environmental factors, external factors, internal factors who affect the performance of the organization. This is very, very important, right? So it is an input for each and every process so far, so a very important one. Also the organizational process assets, that is also a repeated input for the processes we have seen so far. All right, the tools, of course, the expert consultancy again. Second part is the data analysis. Okay, we need to know that there are 6 types of data analysis. So again, due to the time constraint that we have here, we cannot learn each analysis one by one, because that itself will form the lecture for 1 hour. But just know that there are 6 data analysis that is enough for the examination. So what are these? First thing is alternative analysis, cost benefit analysis, earned value analysis, root cause analysis, trend analysis, and variance analysis. So this session is recorded, so don't worry much about writing them down. What I'll do is that I'll describe these as detailed as possible in the lessons to come whenever they are needed. So because they're better explained when I explain it with those examples. The decision making is also something very interesting. The project manager uses voting, right? Voting as an option to understand the opinion of the group. So after the voting, the decisions are made based on the unanimity or majority or plurality, again based on that organization's methods. Meetings also a tool, and I consider that is understood. We have covered 5 processes.